How well do you remember your childhood? For a lot of us, we remember the cartoons that impacted us. We remember them as the source of innocence for our adolescence. Others take it one step further and try to explain why these shows exist or why they were created. I'm going to be doing a 3-part series on my favorite conspiracy theories based on these cartoons. Let's get started with number 1. All the characters in Spongebob represent one of the 7 deadly sins. Patrick is sloth. In the Bible, sloth is described as excessive laziness, and Patrick certainly fits the bill. Patrick Star, recipient of an award for doing nothing in Big Pink Loser, definitely represents this sin because he spends the bulk of his time sleeping under a rock and eating excessively. In addition to being the epitome of laziness, sloth is also the failure to utilize the talents you have. Patrick is shown to have remarkable strength. He is able to lift the rock he sleeps under without trouble. He becomes a karate master in Karate Star, but only uses his power to do things like steal ice cream. It is clear that Patrick mostly uses his incredible strength as a means to indulge in his own laziness. Plankton is envy. Plankton, whose main motivation is stealing the Krusty Krab's secret formula, is certainly envy. Envy is defined as the desire to have an item or experience someone else has. Almost every one of Plankton's storylines revolve around his obsessive need to one-up Mr. Krabs. Plankton is far more concerned with taking something away from someone else, rather than cultivating his own talents and skills. He's even green with envy. Spongebob is lust. Lust is usually seen as excessive sexual desire. However, when defined by Aristotle, lust represents any kind of excessive love for others. SpongeBob, with his upending optimism and friendliness, certainly harbors an excessive amount of love for his friends in Bikini Bottom. He is so blinded by love that he is oblivious to the fact that Squidward finds him very annoying. Often comically misinterpreting Squidward's sarcasm and anger, SpongeBob, minus that one scene, mostly embodies the G-rated version of lust. Mr. Krabs is greed. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Greed is marked by an excessive love for money and material things. Mr. Krabs is the perfect embodiment of this trait. He refers to customers in monetary terms, for example, "That's my money walking out of the door," and runs the Krusty Krab under the philosophy, "The money is always right." He even loses his arms and suffers a severe head injury in one episode in an attempt to pull a dime out of a garbage disposal. Throughout the series, Mr. Krabs has shown a shocking dedication to his money. He keeps his first dollar framed and prominently displayed in his home and is willing to do just about anything to make a profit. What hasn't this guy done for money? He sold SpongeBob's soul for less than $1 once and even went into grave robbing to make some extra cash. Gary is gluttony. Gluttony is the continual consumption of food or drink, which is represented by Gary. The snail doesn't do much on the show other than eat and drink. One would think, given how Gary mostly displays traits associated with the house cat, it's unfair to expect him to show restraint in regards to meals. However, the series hints that Gary has great intelligence. When SpongeBob visits Gary's dream, Gary is lounging in a library and harbors an impressive vocabulary. Gary also apparently pays attention to SpongeBob's electricity bill and is an accomplished violinist. It is eventually revealed that Gary descends from royalty. Maybe his tendency towards gluttony is related to the lavish lifestyle of the very wealthy. Squidward is wrath. Squidward tentacles represents wrath. According to the Bible, wrath is marked by uncontrollable hatred towards the world in general. Squidward's most notable trait is his malice for everyone else in Bikini Bottom, especially his neighbor SpongeBob. After a harmless prank, Squidward retaliates by having SpongeBob violently thrown around the Krusty Krab before being chucked in a garbage can. As SpongeBob runs out of the establishment crying, Squidward maniacally laughs. In the show's first Christmas special, Squidward takes inordinate pleasure in SpongeBob's Christmas being ruined when Santa does not arrive. These are definitely actions of someone who lets their anger get the better of them. Sandy is pride. Texas is a state where people love sharing about how everything is bigger and better. It makes sense then that the character representing Pride would be none other than the Texas-bred squirrel Sandy Cheeks. Sandy is certainly proud of her Texas heritage, so much so that she once attacked SpongeBob and Patrick for mocking the Lone Star State. Sandy is also hyper-competitive and has a tendency to overestimate her abilities due to her own ego. Sandy represents the sin of pride. In the Bible, pride is marked by a lack of regard for others. The first time Sandy meets SpongeBob, she invites him for tea in her underwater air dome. She does not even consider how a sea creature may react to a water deprivation, resulting in SpongeBob's near-death experience. Sandy, taking such pride in her Texas-bred land mammal status, fails to recognize the needs of her sea brethren. She personifies pride through her obsessive, egocentric mindset.